Hey everyone, and welcome back to the EdgeVerse TechCast, your go-to place for everything related to NXP software, tools, and enablement, specifically tailored for NXP processors and microcontrollers. I'm one of your co-hosts, Bridgette Stone.
And I'm the other half, Kyle Dando. Yeah, Bridgette, today we're diving back into a topic that's been very popular in the last few episodes that we've done, and that's AI at the edge. It's being found in smart factories, robotics, all the way to predictive maintenance and intelligent vision systems. And so the developers that work with NXP are increasingly looking for ways to bring machine learning into their embedded devices.
But let's be honest, if you didn't start out as a data scientist, getting into AI can feel like a pretty big leap. So how do you go from a trained model to something that actually runs efficiently on an MCU or applications processor?
And even more than that, Bridgette, as I mentioned before, we're starting to see this shift, and it's not just about running AI. Almost everything and everybody's running AI now, but it's about enabling those systems on the edge to actually make the decisions by themselves and rely less and less on the cloud. That'll make it more real time and right there on the edge and on that device.
Exactly. And that's a big part of what we're seeing with the evolution of eIQ. It's not just about deployment anymore. It's about providing the tools developers need to create these intelligent, responsive systems at the edge.
And so on this episode, we brought back one of our favorite guests to help all of you better understand what the latest is with NXP's eIQ AI development environment. And the team has done amazing improvements on how developers build, optimize, and deploy those machines and all the learning models when working with devices from NXP.
Joining us today is Ted Kao. He has been on the show before and always brings great insight into what developers are actually experiencing. Ted, welcome back.
Hey Kyle, hey Bridgette. Yeah, thanks for having me again.
And again, Ted, this is round two. There's no pressure. The pressure is more on Bridgette and I to make this even more entertaining than the last episode.
That's right.
All right, well, let's start at the top. When a developer hears the name eIQ, what exactly is that, Ted? And what problem is it being designed to solve?
At its core, so I think most people probably don't know, eIQ stands for Edge Intelligence. And that's NXP's AI and machine learning development environment for edge devices. It brings together everything developers typically need, including workflow tools, inference engine, neural network compilers, optimized libraries, and all that into one unified platform that supports MCUs, crossover microcontrollers, as well as applications processors. So the idea is really to simplify what has traditionally been a very fragmented process. Instead of piecing together different frameworks and tools, developers now get a more streamlined path from model development all the way to deployment to embedded hardware that NXP provides.
All right, well, that's an excellent overview of what eIQ offers the listeners. So now, without jumping ahead with too many details, what has the team most recently been working on to add to eIQ?
Sure. We have been working at extending the eIQ environment even further. So we are not just enabling AI to run on the edge anymore. With the latest Agentic AI, there's definitely additional tools, workflows, and pipelines we have been introducing in the last couple months since we last spoke.
Perfect. That's going to be very interesting to learn more about. But before that, let's spend more time helping the listeners better understand eIQ. When people first explore eIQ, they realize pretty quickly that it's not just one tool, it's really an ecosystem. So Ted, what are some of the key pieces developers interact with?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So eIQ is actually built around the full AI workflow. At the center is the eIQ AI Toolkit that will give the developers an end-to-end environment for building and deploying models. That will include working with models, getting them optimized, profiled, converted, and compiled for deployment. And on the runtime side, so eIQ supports a range of inference engines like TensorFlow Lite, ONNX Runtime, ARM, and developers can bring their models from frameworks they are already using. We are also one of the first embedded semiconductor company to support ExecuTorch, which is PyTorch's inference runtime, to run the model natively and efficiently. Finally, everything is integrated with environments like our MCUXpresso, Yocto Linux, so developers can incorporate AI into their existing workflows without starting from scratch.
Excellent. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the developer journey for a moment. So if someone is building an AI-enabled edge device using an NXP SoC, how would that developer get started with the eIQ workflow you just described?
Yeah, that's a great question. Developers don't always start from the same place. And that's exactly how we think about our AI enablement strategy. Some developers will come in with deep AI expertise and existing models, and others, you have data and they may just have an idea. What we do is we try to meet them at where they are at a super high level. Everything we do falls into two simple paths. One is what we call bring your own model, and the other one is what we call bring your own data. If you're in the bring your own model camp, maybe that's where you already have a trained model, you're working with an open source model, or maybe you're pulling something from our model zoo. And we've got those developer covered with the tools like our eIQ Toolkit, Neutron SDK, and AI Hub, which I'll talk a little bit more later. Those tools will help the developers take a model and make them embedded ready, do quantization, profiling, optimization, and conversions. That's critical, especially for embedded vision, large language model, vision language model. That's where a lot of the large and huge diversity of models and frameworks are in the community. On the other hand, for the people that have their own data, think more like sensor data or time series type of signals for use cases like anomaly detections, predictive maintenance, R fault detections, and things like that. We also offer the bring your own data path. The key tool in that space is called Time Series Studio. This is a tool with the automatic machine learning or AutoML capability that has a capability to intelligently search through different signal processing algorithms, model architectures, and explore both a classical machine learning and deep learning approach and find the best output based on accuracy, memory, footprint, and performance targets. Again, with the automatic machine learning, the magic is that output is always optimized for the embedded deployment, whether you're running on Cortex-M with the tight memory constraint or Cortex-A, or with accelerating on the Neutron NPU, our version of the NPU. So the models are designed to run efficiently on the actual hardware. With all those tools, we are really to try to enable edge AI, and that's really different from cloud-based AI because you cannot really scale your way out of the constraints. And our tools are built to embrace those limits, again, memory, compute, power, and the goal is really to help the developers deliver efficient AI at the edge.
So now that the customer has all their data inside of the eIQ tools and they have their design fine-tuned and ready to go, how does that developer now test their design on the NXP microcontroller or IMX processor?
So once the model is ready, deploying them on the NXP platform is pretty straightforward. Developers can test on real hardware through our popular Freedom board ecosystem. And we're also building a board farm, which can enable the developers to validate model performance and power consumptions remotely on the actual devices and not simulations.
Very cool, Ted. We know that AI is evolving quickly and eIQ is evolving right there with it. What are some of the newer capabilities developers should know about?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of exciting progress at CES this year in 2026. So we announced a couple new tools. We announced eIQ Agentic AI Framework and eIQ AI Hub. The Agentic AI Framework is all about bringing the real autonomy to the edge. And instead of just detecting something, a system can respond immediately. And that could mean stopping the machine when there's an anomaly that happens, triggering an alert, or adjusting the system automatically. It lets multiple AI models, whether it's vision, audio, sensor-based intelligence, work together in real time on a single device. What makes this truly different from cloud agent framework is that it's actually built specifically for embedded constraints like fixed memory, limited compute, deterministic latency. We're bridging the edge inference with generative AI and integrating them with ecosystems like Google's ADK, industry standards like the MCP model context protocol, and popular agentic APIs from OpenAI, for example. The result is actually intelligent, autonomous system that powers smart homes and buildings, healthcare, safety, and automotive applications. We also announced eIQ AI Hub. where developers are able to gain access to our tools through a cloud portal. They can do prototyping, optimizing, benchmarking, validating AI models on the NXP hardware without installing SDKs or owning the hardware upfront. Given that we have been introducing different tools, we have seen the need to have both our tools on-premise as well as in the cloud. On-premise provides the privacy and security that's needed, and having the tools in the cloud enables ease of access. So the same philosophy is getting applied to our eIQ Time Series Studio, where we are offering both on-prem and cloud access. And in end of 2025, we also introduced Gen AI Flow, which brings generative AI capability to the edge, including support for similar or smaller language models and retrieval-based application to support the fine-tuning of customers' models toward their specific applications.
Okay, now for developers listening, you've got them very curious and they want to start developing on the edge AI topics that you discussed, but maybe they're not really familiar with building their own model yet. What's the best way for them to get started with eIQ?
So that's another great question. The best place to start is go to nxp.com/AI. And that's where NXP provides a wide range of example applications, tutorials, pre-trained models, so developer can use right away. A great first step is obviously running their inference on the existing model. I mean, image classification, face recognition, object detections, and things like that to understand exactly how things work on the actual hardware. From there, developer can move into training and optimizing their own models for their specific applications, utilizing the tools that we provide. And even as we introduce more advanced capabilities, the goal with eIQ is really to keep things accessible. Developers can start simple and grow into more advanced AI use cases, generative AI over time.
Ted, this was really a great conversation and a helpful look at how developers can start bringing AI into their embedded designs using eIQ.
And it's really clear that it's just not about enabling AI at the edge anymore. All the tools that you described and all the enablement that NXP's been working on, it's about getting all of our developers to the next thing, which is developing those autonomous and responsive systems on the edge in real time.
So listeners, if you'd like to learn more, you can visit nxp.com/AI or nxp.com/EIQ, where you can find documentation, training resources, and example projects to help get you started quickly.
And Ted, thanks again. As Bridgette said, you did a great job. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed the conversation.
And thanks to all of you for listening to the EdgeVerse TechCast.
Everyone should subscribe to hear more excellent adventures about AI and all the other enablement from NXP. Be sure to be excellent to each other, and we will see you next time on the EdgeVerse TechCast. See what I did there?
I saw what you did there.
That was most triumphant.
Sure was.